Hi, I'm Lina Vermeer from Spartan Youth Radio here at Laurentian University with Spencer West, a motivational speaker for Me to We and mountain climbing extraordinaire. Hi Spencer, I'm Lina.
Hi Lina, nice to meet you.
Thanks. So why don't you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Spencer West, and I'm an author and motivational speaker for a social enterprise called Me to We. And just a sort of brief overview of my story. I was born with legs, but I was born with a genetic disease that caused the muscles in my legs not to work. So as a kid, they were removed so I could get around better. And of course, growing up and not having legs had its set of challenges, being different, being bullied in school, and graduating from high school and getting to university. And I studied communication, similar to what we're doing right now, which is cool. And after I graduated university, I got into the real world, and I was really disappointed with the direction of my life and where I'd gone. So a good friend of mine invited me to go on a volunteer trip to Kenya through Me to We to help build a school. And it was a life-changing experience, which literally brought me to be here with you today.
Okay, and why did you decide to climb Mount Kilimanjaro?
Yeah, so to just back up a little bit, so when I went to Kenya in 2008, I found my passion. I found how I could use my story in order to give back and inspire other people to only overcome their obstacles, but to get involved with something that they're passionate about. So after that trip, I came home, and I felt like it would be an injustice to what I had seen and what I had learned if I just went back to my normal job. So I started speaking for Me to We and being an ambassador for Free the Children. And after almost the last 4 years traveling around sharing my story with people, it didn't seem right for me to continue to tell kids, you need to get involved, you need to fundraise, when I'd never done one myself. So it just so happened the founder of Me to We and Free the Children, Craig Kilberger, came up to me one day and he said, Spence, have you ever thought about climbing Mount Kilimanjaro? And I was like, no, I haven't actually. And he said, well, I think it's something you could do. You should think about it. And so the more I thought about it, the more I thought, actually, this could be cool. So I went back and I said, yes, Craig, I would love to climb Kilimanjaro. Here are the things that I need. Number one, I don't want to just climb the mountain because that's boring. Let's run a campaign. Let's do something around it and fundraise. So we chose clean water, and our goal was $500,000 to provide sustainable clean water to over 12,500 people in East Africa, which was facing one of the largest droughts they've seen in over 60 years last year. And the other piece that I said, this is going to be the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. I want my two best friends to come with me because they're the people that know how to support me, and we can do this together. And he said, great, go ahead. And that's sort of where the whole idea and the whole campaign came from. And we named our campaign Redefine Possible, and our goal was to inspire people through literally our climb, because I was told I would never walk or be a functioning member of society. So by climbing the largest mountain in Africa, we were proving that not only could I walk, but we were literally giving back to society through this campaign. We're hoping to inspire other people to redefine their possible. And then, of course, the other piece was the fundraising piece for clean water.
That sounds really awesome.
Thank you.
So this climb was amazing, and how did it change your life?
You know, it was one of those, it's one of those adventures that you never forget. I keep saying it was 8 days that I wouldn't trade for anything, and 8 days I never want to do again. So what I mean by that is, when we started to climb Kilimanjaro, our goal was for me to walk 50% on my hands and then 50% in my wheelchair. But when we got to the mountain, it was actually not the case at all. I was walking way more. It was about 80% of my hands. And then the rest was split between riding in a wheelchair and being carried by either the porters or my buddies. So that was a bit difficult for me to sort of let go and accept help. But it was essential to our journey. And what I didn't expect is that, I didn't have any legs, so I just assumed my buddies were going to be the ones to help me get to the top of the mountain. But as we got towards the top, the roles were actually reversed, and my buddies needed me to get them to the top because I was in that small percentage of people who wasn't affected by altitude sickness. And my buddies got hit with massive altitude sickness. They were puking, they could barely walk, they kept falling. And so I literally told the porter who was carrying me at the time, because I was going to be carried half the way and then walk the last half with my buddies. And before we got to that halfway mark, I told the guy that was carrying me, I was like, you got to put me down, man. He was like, no, we've got a little bit farther to go. And I said, no, You have to put me down. And I stood in between my two best friends, and slowly, hand in hand and foot, we made it to the top. You know, it was a proud moment for us to get to the top and prove to the world that we literally could redefine possible and that we had helped each other out. And you know, in doing so, we raised over $500,000 for clean water projects in East Africa. So
that's really good.
Thank you.
So, like, do you have any more plans for Me to We or Feed the Children? Like, what sort of stuff do you want to do or are already doing for that?
Absolutely. So what's so exciting about this year is now, like here in Sudbury, where I'm here to talk about what happened on the mountain, which I just told you a brief story, but there's some other really incredible things that happened to us that I'm going to share tonight here. So I'm traveling around North America sharing what we learned and sort of our adventure. But the cool thing about this year is, you know, last year, just me in particular, I was fundraising for clean water projects in East Africa. This year, Free the Children has launched a huge water initiative, where the entire goal of the organization this year is to provide sustainable clean water to 100,000 people for life. So this year will also be about water again, but in a large way. And there's so many ways that we're going to be doing this. For instance, this bracelet I'm wearing today is made by the mamas in Kenya, and it's the Water Rafiki Friend Chain. And we sell these on our website and at our store in Toronto. And each bracelet is $10. And by purchasing a bracelet, all the proceeds are donated to the Water Initiative. And one bracelet provides clean water for one person for an entire year. So we're using these to not only raise awareness, but also if people want to use these as a fundraising tool, you can contact our store and we can send a bunch and you can start selling them in your school. And the money not only will help clean water, but it's also sort of a fun fundraising campaign as well. So this year is all about water and really focusing on that as an organization. And then I don't know if you're familiar, but Free the Children has a big event called We Day. And We Day is basically a rock concert for social change. It's literally the movement of our time where we bring students just like you, Lina, from all across North America to celebrate the power of social change. And it's a free event. The only ticket in is to committing to doing one local, one global action. So Toronto We Day is actually next Friday, September 28th, at the Air Canada Centre. We're going to have a huge slew of incredible celebrities coming. Myself is going to speak. Mark and Craig Kilberger will be speaking as well. So there's a lot of fun things happening.
That sounds really awesome. So, if you could tell one message to every single person in the entire world, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good question. I think for me, at least today, I would say that we are a generation who even out the odds and define impossible as possible. We have the capacity to redefine the limits of our own human potential, and that there literally is no can't or won't, only how. And I think if we start thinking of life in those terms, of not focusing on what we can't do, but focus on what we can do, I think that's really what's going to take us and help us advance not only our community, but the global community together, is starting to have that mentality and then taking action on it, which is what we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah. Well, I think you're a really amazing person, and I'm really glad that everyone's going to be able to listen to what you have to say.
Awesome. Lina, thank you so much. That was so great.
Thanks.
Sure.
I'm Lina Vermeer from Spartan Youth Radio. Remember, we're all kinds of different. This has been Lina Vermeer from Spartan Youth Radio interviewing Spencer West. We encourage you all to get involved locally and globally. Google Me to We.
J'appelle Caronne, Sandrine et Jackie.